1212. Sons of Jacob is here to let you know how it really is. To hell with the fakers. That's right. To hell with the sellouts and the Uncle Toms. We're gonna show you how a nation's supposed to be. Sons of Jacob for the 9-8. Bring it.
This world's synthetic, plus hectic, can't forget pathetic. The way the seats rule the streets, it seems prophetic to me. Living in curses of Deuteronomy, slavery, oppression, and history. Already documented before it came to be. Master arts, lyrical chivalry. Now watch the gear shift. You're dealing with lyrical lords that will scores and swords, slice and dice and vocal cords. Psalms 144, the Lord teaches my hands to war. You don't believe? Read Exodus 15 and verse 3 and see how we deal. And still nothing but the real. I acquire, he sign and seal with buckler and shield. You bust this. You use weed as crutches. I hate that. It's like them high school lunches. I take them out in bunches. Leave you laying wet like a tongue kiss. You wish to be like me. Check the suffix. I snipe an Amalekite or an Edomite on sight. While you stand there looking dumb, these birds spray you like submachine guns. When I try rise like a turn of the Hun, chuck up another one from a dirty dozen brethren and fly high like a chariot in the heavens. You counterfeit to Devin when the sons of Jacob step in. All the stuff in the sequence like is vexing, can't be moved in small spaces. I'm fighting spiritual wickedness in high places. Disappear with no traces. So watch what we kick. We pull licks, did the black like in the clip.
Separate the lie from the Memorex, exposing the fake. Jake's the lie, should remember that. They chosen they fake, did wait, we decapitate for the sake of the laws. We let the 9s-5 bust the shots off for the cause. Separate the lie from the Memorex, exposing the fake. Jake's the lie, should remember that. They chosen they fake, did wait, we decapitate for the sake of the laws. We let the 9s-5 bust the shots off for the cause.
It wasn't meant for this from the start out. You done corrupted the art and took all the heart out to reach our people without the enemy understanding. But now you done fell into his line of demanding. Because pimps and hoes is what sells. We got blunt smokers and yak sippers on the sale. It all jet propels with the quickness and starts spreading throughout our people like a sickness. And because wickedness abounds with the thickness, all you industry niggas next up on the hit list, but not the billboard. You about to feel scores in the name of Yahweh Shah, the real Lord. Y'all always claim about keeping it real, but you some house niggas never seen no parts of the field with your funny pose in your videos and your clown suit, nigga using jigaboo. They got you jumping around, smiling like a Sambo, and you think it's all good like Cambos. You got those promoting dope token and weed smoking. You only provoking me to cut your ass wide open. You got the wise hoping for something real. Got our people cut, but sons of Jacob came to heal and reveal those who's faking and shaking for the big time paper.
Separate the lie from the Memorex, exposing the fake. Jake's the lie, should remember that. They chosen they fake, dead weight, we decapitate for the sake of the laws. We let the 9s-5 bust the shots off for the cause. Separate the lie from the Memorex, exposing the fake. Jake's the lie, should remember that. They chosen they fake, dead weight, we decapitate for the sake of the laws. We let the 9s-5 bust the shots off for the cause. Separate the lie from the Memorex, exposing the fake. Jake's the lie, should remember that. They chosen they fake, dead weight, we decapitate for the sake of the laws. We let the 9s-5 bust the shots off for the cause. Separate the lie from the Memorex, exposing the fake. Jake's the lie, should remember that. They chosen they fake, dead weight, we decapitate for the sake of the laws. We let the 9s-5 bust the shots off for the cause.
Boom, there we go. All praises, honor, and glory to the Most High. In the name of his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, that's your brother Ahmath. I acquire first name. IQ is all the same. You reach another episode. That's right, DSTM. Don't shoot the messenger. If you've been around, you've been picking up what I've been putting down. But if you have not, don't get too close because you might get shot. Shabbat shalom to the fam, man. Hopefully everybody's doing well. It's in the house. Salute to everybody that's been popping in the chat, saluting your fellow saints on the Shabbat, and bidding each other shalom, peace, and blessings, right? That's what it's about, especially during these days and times right now. The scriptures call us to salute the saints, right? So don't be ashamed. It's okay. You ain't got to just watch. You can actually jump on there and say, hey, shalom, everybody. So all that good stuff. Shalom, peace, welcome, shalom, shalom, good evening. Everything is covered. All right. Just like we're getting ready to cover tonight. You can see the title, man. Total chaos and mass confusion. That's what's going on in the world right now. Total chaos and mass confusion. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to get into some things, man. A lot is on the table. I'm glad I kind of waited to the end of the week as the Spirit always dictates and told me, hey, slow down on the DSTMs because I used to do them Monday, Wednesday, on the Sabbaths, and the Spirit told me, hey, slow down. You got to let things develop a little bit more, right? Because sometimes things change. Within 7 days, it could be one thing that dropped, the next thing you know, they double back and something changes after that. And if there's an old saying that they say, what they say, buy the news and sell the rumor. That's what happens a lot of times. And we know that the scriptures tell us, man, that the Lord is not the author of confusion. And that's exactly what's going on in the earth right now. There's a lot of confusion that's going on, a lot of chaos going on. There's a lot of uproars and risings of the people going on. Earthquakes is happening, famine, you name it. Everything is on the table right now. And we're going to talk about everything from the Iran situation. I know a lot of us and people had their ears pierced to the news and everything else, just waiting for a conflict and a bomb in America to go invade, and it didn't happen yet. Why? We're going to talk about that. Greenland, that's a major thing that's going on right now. You still got some fallout from Venezuela. You got thousands of nurses walking off the job and striking out of New York, rebelling against the medical system. ICE still running rampant in the streets, riot and upheavals going on, and more shooting going on in Minnesota. You name it, we got it. We're going to cover it. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. All right. Let's get right into it, man. Let me share my screen. And let me see. Why is this not working? Hold on. Okay. You know what I want to get into first? 1 Corinthians 14. Let's get that first. Because we see here, I said, I titled this Total Chaos and Mass Confusion, right? And one thing for sure, two things for certain. 1 Corinthians 14:33, for the Most High is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints. And we'll get into why we're talking about confusion that's going on in the earth right now. This is Babylon, right? When we're talking about Babylon, we're talking about the land of confusion. All right, Genesis 11. And let's see. Right here, verse 9, right? Let's look at the word Babel. See that here? Being that we're here in modern day Babylon, right? This place America takes on the spiritual essence. Okay, you know what? I guess I have to expand my horizons. Open up another one, right? Revelation 11. Actually, no, it's lucky. Revelation, I want 14. And verse 8. Now notice here, it says, and there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. So modern day Babylon is America, right? And this place is fallen. Remember, I don't know if y'all remember that old commercial, the Life Alert commercial. The old lady was on there. She'd have a Life Alert. She said, I've fallen and I can't get up. That's this great whore right here is America, right? America is slipping at is losing its grip on control of everything. That's why Agent Orange is out there imposing his will on all nations right now, trying to get his will back in order. What he's calling the Donroe Doctrine, why he wants to have complete dominion over the Western Hemisphere to be prepared for war. He's already talking about why he needs Greenland, because he wants to get that golden dome up as a defense shield for when the missile starts flying over here. right? But this place is going down. And why does it say it's making all the nations drink? Because every nation, for diplomacy, for money, for weaponry, for you see what he's doing with these tariffs. All the nations are partaking, and they're all going to partake of the wrath of her fornication. That's how we know this is going to be a global conflict that happens in these last days. Okay, now let's jump over here back into Genesis 11. Let's read the scripture first. Genesis 11:9. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because Yahweh did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did Yahweh scatter them abroad from upon the face of all the earth. So we know that during the Tower of Babel, everybody knows the history, man. The nations came together, they all were speaking the same language. Under Nimrod, they wanted to establish a new world order and everything else. And because of their wickedness and because of their rebelliousness against the Most High and have no desire to keep his laws, the Most High confounded the languages, created righteous segregation, separated the nations, put them in their own inhabited dwellings to set forth the path of the land of milk and honey that the children of Israel were to inherit, which is the land of Israel. Right? But why do he call it Babel? Because in the Hebrew, this word babal means confusion. So we see how America is going to carry on that same spirit dealing with confusion. They deal with misinformation, disinformation. They deal with regime changes. They deal with what do they call it? Fraud, extortion. They deal with politics, lies and deceptions. AI is a whole thing of confusion. Like I said, man, if you're in a state now where you can't even trust your eyes and what you're watching, you have nobody to thank but good old Babylon, America, for your confusion. Okay? So this is the place that is causing all this particular confusion. You see all the chaos that he's causing throughout the earth. Sacking and pillaging, Haiti, they're shut down. Cuba shut down. Venezuela shut down. Mexico, he's trying to get authority to land boots on the ground over there, claiming he wants to fight the cartels, and we know that's not what that's going on. Colombia, right? Greenland, he's got his hands over there in Ukraine and Russia, China and Taiwan. He's causing and stirring up the pot throughout all these nations, causing confusion, and people are trying to figure out what the hell is going on. He's doing things that's unlawful. He's breaking international laws, crimes, kidnaps, money laundering, embezzlement. All that stuff is going on right now. At the same time, saying he wants to make Iran again. What's he saying? MEGA, make Iran great again. I mean, this cat is full of. You know what I was about to say. He don't give a damn about Iran. He just bombed the hell out of him in the summer. Now he wants to make them great again. He loves them protesting over there, but when the protests happen over here in Minnesota and New York and LA and every place else that we're coming up against ICE and coming up against the Gestapo mafia that he's got running through these streets, man, he don't like that. So is he pro-protest or is he anti-protest? What is it? Confusion. You dig what I'm saying? This is why I titled tonight, Total Chaos and Mass Confusion. Sirach 5:15. Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small. So we have to consider all things when we're looking at what's happening in prophecy, in the news, what's going on. And, you can't trust the Mockingbird media that's jumping off, man. You got to dig deep, right? That's why I do the work for you. And I know y'all do your own works too. And watching, particular videos and content creators that's putting up information that's valid, But at the same time, it's our job to make sure that we're diligently considering all these matters, right? Small or great. Proverbs 21:12, one of my favorites. The righteous man wisely considereth the house of the wicked. So, yeah, that's me. I'm nosy. What What you got going on in there? Let me see. Open up them windows. Ooh, I see what you did. Don't hide that. I see what you're doing. That's me. I'm trying to see what is this dude up to, man. Because the average Joe Schmo, Hispanic, Native American, and black man and woman is out here with their thumbs up their butts and ain't paying attention to nothing but, the money, the club, the game, the weed, the lean, the pills. Brother did a lesson about brothers being careful regarding lusting after women and whatnot, right? And we was talking about it last weekend, and he was making mention of I don't know if I'm assuming it was a video, but sister jumping up and down and making a butt clap. And I said, that is so similar to how the so-called white man puts seals in captivity. And you know how they put the seals up and the seals jump out the water and they I mean, that's what reminded me immediately when he was like, yeah, man, sister up there jumping up and popping her, making her butt clap and all that. And I was like, that's, these sisters out here damn near an animal instincts. You dig what I'm saying? Like acting like complete animals and seals. And popping and waiting for somebody to throw on some change. Tricks. Right? Our people got to get it together, man. All hell is breaking loose. Confusion and chaos is going on in the midst of us. And we still sitting back saying, what? I don't see nothing. Huh? That ain't real. That can't be right. No, I ain't heard about that, man. Man, you tripping. You paranoid. No, it's always like that. Who cares? We're all going to die anyway. Let's go. Unbelievable. Continued on, it says, the righteous man wisely considereth the house of the wicked, but the Most High overthroweth the wicked for their wickedness. That's the, what do they call it? The light at the end of the tunnel. The Most High is going to always overthrow the wicked for their wickedness. So regardless what is going on in the house of the wicked, i.e. the White House, yeah, he's still going to overthrow them. That's why we know that this place has a determinate end. And the writing is on the wall. You're going to see in a minute. We're going to look at a couple of these precepts. We're going to look at some prophecy in particular that is playing out right now before our eyes, man. And you can say, oh, man, y'all always talking about last days prophecy. You guys don't know. The man wrote that book. White man. We're going to see. We're going to see. Ain't no way a damn man wrote this. Physically, yes. Through the spirit and inspiration, no. Sirach 30:91. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof. So that's what it's going to take for us to receive prophecy, to receive understanding, receive wisdom, is to give our mind over to the law of the Most High. While the church, you see, what's the name? Drewski, some of the Israelites was upset because he was running around here mocking brothers out there on the streets. I give him his credit. He played fair and he went to the churches too. And actually, the one with the churches is more funny to me than the one that he did about us. I really could care less, but he, was making a mockery of us. The Most High is going to see him for that. But he's out there clowning the church. Why? Because of the church is saying, hey, man, the laws is done away with. You're saved through grace and faith, through the blood of Jesus. You're saved already. Right? So that means that they have no wisdom of the ancients. They don't understand prophecy. In the scholastic world, they call it eschatology. They don't have any understanding of any of the above. They just want to feel good. That's what they go to every Sunday, is to go feel good, to feel better. It's an emotional pick-me-up, man. It's a self-esteem seminar that they go to every damn Sunday. Go through your 6 days, 6 months, 6 years of guilt and finally you say, man, I got to go hear the word. I got to go to church, man. I got to get the word in me. Huh? What do you mean? When are you going to start living it? Not just going to go hear it. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof, that means it has to be something within your thought pattern. It has to be something within your mental makeup, the law of the Most High. That's what's going to balance you out between understanding good, evil. Your conscience is going to be seared with a hot iron that you want to do the things according to the law. That's what's going to keep you balanced because your mind is constantly in meditation about those things. Now, I don't mean you always got to be a dang drone where you like, the law, the law, the law, the law. It has to be in you, not on you. Outside of, your fringes or whatnot, but hey, it's got to be in you. When you're going to go eat somewhere, your meditation should already be, I got to make sure this is lawful. You're asking, hey, does this have this in it? Does that have that in it? Okay, yeah, I can't eat that. Don't put that in there. How would you like your steak? Medium, well done? No, well done. Are you sure that you're going to ruin the meat? Yeah, well done. No blood. That's having your mind in the meditation thereof. A brother can't be sitting there drooling, lusting after another man's woman. That's adulterous. Christ even said, if a man even looks upon another man's wife, he's already committed adultery in his head, therefore making him guilty. But if your mind is meditating on that, you saying, no, get that wicked, evil thought, Satan, get behind me, man. Move on. That's what's going to save you. That's what's going to save us. It says, and occupied in the meditation there will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecy. So our objective is to be occupied, being consumed with prophecies. And we're definitely living in a time of prophecy right now. Believe it or not. Believe it or not, man. You want to listen to Candace Owens and Piers Morgan and whoever else and believe they're going to tell you the truth? Okay, go ahead. You're definitely going to trip, stumble, and fall, bust your nose. Let's get right to it, man. Let's get right to it. All right, so here we go. Now, Iran says they're fighting 4 simultaneous wars with the U.S., Israel, says Kalibaf, right? Now, one thing's for sure, 2 things for certain. Let's double back over to the prophecy with Ezekiel 38, right? As one particular, but this one's always powerful because all the players in the game are kind of mentioned within here. Ezekiel 38, verse 1 down. It says, and the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Gog in the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Gog will be dealing with the president or the leader of Russia right now, which would be Putin. The land of Magog would be Russia, right? They even acknowledge that there's some research and scholars say that Meshech is a translation of Moscow. I don't have time to try to prove that, but that's just something to consider as well. Now it says to prophesy against him. So there's going to be a prophecy that's going against Russia. And say, thus saith Yahweh with power. Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. So Russia is going to be turned away from its own will. Hooks are going to be put into the jaws to control and bridle Russia. Most High is going to control all things. That's why none of these peace talks have worked. None of these ceasefires have worked. That's why the breaking up of the Soviet Union happened back in the 90s, and all of the particular nations broke free. Ukraine is doing what they're doing right now because they're offshoot of the old Soviet Union. All this is prophecy. Most High broke that whole thing up, put hooks in the jaws, and now turn on their own people to ignite a global conflict that now has got NATO involved, which is the European Union, the European Union's military army, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. That's got them involved. America's now got their nose in the mix. And every time that there's, we're going to have a talk, we're going to, every time Agent Orange says, we got a good relationship with Putin and we're going to talk it out, we're going to get it settled. Didn't he sell us? Not us. Didn't he sell the American people on his campaign that he was going to end the war in 24 hours. That didn't happen. Why? Because the Most High is in control of that whole situation. Continuing on, it says, and I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So that's why we've been hearing about and seeing the profiling of these weapons. The original, what is it called? What's the one he just launched last week at Ukraine? I know they got what they call them, the Rishnikovs, something like that. But he got the Kinzhal missiles, he got the Satan 1 and Satan 2 bombs, all of the drone warfare. They're all profiling it, right? Now it says Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them shield and helmet. Persia is Iran. They will be in league with Russia. That's why you see them aligning themselves with the BRICS economy. This is why you see them selling drones to Russia. Ethiopia, we're seeing conflicts going on over there in Africa. You've seen him go over there and bombing Nigeria. There's conflict in the Sudan. We've seen what he did with the overthrow of Libya and Gaddafi. But all of these nations now are going to align themselves up with Russia, and Russia is going to be like a big brother to them. All of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Torgama of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared and prepare thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So Russia's job is to be a guard, a protector, a shield, and an ally to said nations, right? In particular, we're going to concentrate on Iran right now. Why? Because Iran is a hot topic right now. We see them rioting in the streets. Hundreds have passed away through the rebellious conflict that's going on over there. There was supposed to be a public lynching that was supposed to happen. Agent Orange is saying, hey, if you kill anybody, I'm coming over there and help is on his way. We're going to make Iran great again. There's great people over there. If that ain't a lie from the pit of hell, man, and this dude got the forked tongue of a damn demon, that he would sit up there and lie like that, say he wants to make Iran great again. Yeah, if he can throw in a regime change and get the Ayatollah Khomeini out of there and put in one of their old stooges, that's the only way it can be made great again. Meanwhile, he's got the sanctions galore crippling their economy, but he's trying to make it great again. I mean, give me a dang break, man. Lies. This is why he's the damn devil. And I know that's so sensitive to our people. he called him the devil. Yeah, we don't mean the man with the horns and the pitchforks and the hoofs prancing around in the heated hell saying, come on down, welcome. I'm going to get you. No, the devil is a deceiver. And the principal deceiver in the earth right now is the so-called white man, period. You can say, well, there's black devils too. There's always a damn Negro always wanted, well, we devils too. Yeah, everyone has the ability to be a deceiver, but he thrives in it. He's got his power from Satan. That's what it says in Revelation 13. Power was given unto him from the dragon. The beast was given power from the dragon. The dragon, the red dragon, in Revelation 12:9, it says that old serpent, the devil, and Satan, that's who gave power to this last beast, which is the offspring of Rome, which is America. Tune in tomorrow for our Sabbath class. I'm going to cover Revelation 17. We're going to go through that because that's important with everything that's going on right now. That's prophetic. You need to be tuning into that tomorrow. 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, closing Sabbath class. We're going to get more prophecy, right? But look at this. Iran is already saying they're in 4 wars with the U.S. and Israel, man. They're in an economic war, in a damn near military conflict because they've already been bombed once. Israel and Mossad is on the ground, boots on the ground over there, stirring up the pot with all of the protesters that's going on over there right now. I've even heard that they're the ones that's instigated and encouraging this these rebellions that's going on over there in the protests. That the small hats of GMO, false claiming identity people, you know who I'm talking about? The 1948 hijackers, yeah, they're over there stirring up the pot and initiating a lot of this. But look at this. Addressing the parliament on Sunday, Calender said Iran is currently at war with the U.S. and Israeli enemies in the economic, cognitive, military, and anti-terrorism spheres at the same time. He said while the economic, cognitive, and psychological wars against Iran have been in progress for many years and have become more complicated throughout the time, the military war kicked off in June of 2025 following American and Israeli acts of aggression. Yeah, that's right. June 2025, that's when Trump declared the 12-day war, dropped the bomb over there in Iran to destroy their quote-unquote nuclear power facilities and to cut off their access to having nuclear power. And then you see what happened. Okay. So now it says, Calender noted that the enemy's defeat in the military war against Iran forced the U.S. to provoke unrest in the country, hijack the legitimate demands of the people, and start a terrorist war by committing crimes. So one thing we see here, economic warfare, cognitive warfare, that's mental, military and anti-terrorism spheres, right? But notice it says here, psychological wars is being committed as well. So they're playing psyop games. Okay. Now, continuing on here, this is part of the psyop. This is part of what was going on. This is what, early up, I was like, oh man, it's about to go down, man. Friday class is going to be big. We're going to see something because they were talking about within days. Americans are warned to leave Iran now as Trump plots aerial strikes and slaps huge new tariffs on China and other countries. Right. And this is all backfiring on him because China just went and negotiated with Canada to circumvent the tariffs because he's laying tariffs on both of them. It was like, well, we can network together and get money together. So that backfired on him. Now it says Americans living in Iran have been told to leave immediately on Monday, and Donald Trump weighs his response to the virus. Go ahead, put it up. Salaki. Americans living in Iran have been told to leave immediately on Monday as Donald Trump weighs his response to violent protests that have left nearly 600 dead across the country. Remember when he said, if any get put to death, I'm coming over there. 600 bodies later, still no action. In true taco fashion, you know what they call them? Trump always chickens out. In true taco fashion, he bluffed. Iran didn't blink. He blinked. And now we see nothing come of it. The U.S. virtual embassy in Iran warned Americans that it was too dangerous to be in the country during the ongoing turmoil, alerting them to leave Iran now. U.S. citizens should expect continued internet outages, plan alternative means of communication, and if safe to do so, consider departing Iran and land by Armenia or Turkey. So even to communicate, they cut off the internet over there because they know that's how people are communicating, organizing these mobs. They took out the Starlink that Elon had set up over there, and they took that out. So everything was getting shut down, man. Anarchy was on the rise, and it's still over there, So all this is building up, and everybody is tracking it. It's like, okay, this might go down. Now look, Iran threatens a preemptive strike against Israel and its U.S. bases. So they were talking about, well, if America takes any action, we're going to start hitting up these military facilities over there in Iran, and what they're calling down here legitimate targets. Iran would consider U.S. military facilities in Israel legitimate targets if it detects signs of an impending attack. Iran's paramilitary speaker warned. So you see here, even they were talking about that they were ready to have preemptive strikes going against the U.S. Everybody's antennas up. We all thinking it's about to go down, right? Now look at this. Look at the latest. Netanyahu halts Trump from bombing Iran as Israel delivers vital intelligence on the regime crackdown. Who's calling the shots here? Who's controlling America? You already see here. Netanyahu pulled the plug, told Trump, back down, fall back. We're not doing that. So this is why I said, man, all praise to the Most High, because if I ran with the news early and said, man, it's about to go down, World War III, America's about to bomb Iran, and now, just as of yesterday, they called it off. Or they're delaying it, right? Now, whether this is some military tactic that they just saying, hey, like we say, buy the news, sell the rumor. The rumor is, oh, they're going to bomb, they're going to bomb. And now the news is, no, we're not. Or the rumor is, we're going to put it on hold. But the real news is they're actually going to go through with it. We don't know. But as of right now, they were talking about within days, America was considering bombing Iran. And now we don't see nothing happen. Why? Because Netanyahu popped out and said, no, we're not doing that right now because we're not ready for the fallout if it happens. Benjamin Netanyahu asked Donald Trump to not launch military strikes against the Ayatollah's Islamic regime over fears Iran will retaliate against Israel. Oh, so Israel, the small hats didn't want that smoke, huh? So he says, hey, you might bomb, but we're going to catch the blowback, man. And we're not ready for what they were going to bring to us. So hold on. Now, it says the Israeli prime minister spoke to Donald Trump on Wednesday, shortly before the president told a reporter that he had received information from, quote, very important sources on the other side that Iran has stopped executing anti-regime protesters. So, again, here they are acknowledging that protesters have been getting smoked and put to death by the hundreds. Agent Orange said help is on the way. He lied about that. He ain't been over there and saved near person. Now, if Iran says, okay, we're going to pause just to kind of see if this escalates, then we got to get right and get ready. Now, it says other Gulf nations, including Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Oman, and Egypt, have also implored the White House not to attack Iran over fears it could lead to a regional conflict. Yeah, well, Saudi Arabia, their allies and, they're networking and getting money with America. Qatar, remember, they gave him his own plane. So all of them have vested interests in the money flow, and they don't want to mess that up. So they telling America, hey, hold on, you might mess up the pipeline, man. We're not ready for that yet. Now it says Israeli and Arab officials both fear that Iran would respond to a U.S. strike by attacking their countries. Now, why do I say that it's delayed? Because another report says that the U.S. is still sending missile destroyers, submarines, and fighter jets over there, but they're positioning them till next week. So we'll see. But as of right now, all the hype about America's going to bomb Iran and all that, they didn't call that off. But can we trust the devil? No, we can't trust them. Because look, it says U.S. diverts aircraft carrier strike group towards Iran. Fighter jets, guided missile destroyers, and submarine to arrive within a week as Trump continues to threaten attacks. So this just came out today. Now, yesterday is when Netanyahu said, fall back, don't do it. Why? Because they were fearful of retaliation hitting them directly with Iran. So what do they say? Trump says, hey, don't worry. I got more backup coming. It'll be there next week. So is it possible that it goes down next week? Maybe so. Let's see. America's USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier and its strike group have been turned around and sent towards Iran. Turned around. Also, they was faking like they was leaving. They came back. The group, which includes fighter jets, guided missile destroyers, and at least one attack submarine, is due to arrive within a week. The Pentagon said it was moving the carrier strike group from the South China Sea towards the Middle East as Donald Trump awaits for Iran's next move amid the regime's violent crackdown on protesters. Iranian authorities have shut down the internet in an effort to suppress news from inside the country, meaning that the death toll will probably rise substantially when services are restored. Now, look here. The U.S. president told protesters earlier this week that help was on the way and threatened the regime with airstrikes. So clearly he didn't do that yet, right? And the cold part is that they're out there rioting and protesting because of the economic sanctions, the inflation, everybody's broke, poverty, so forth and so on. But who are they to blame? America is the one that laid down the economic sanctions on Iran. Iran is the one that's getting starved out by America. America's cutting their water off, and the people are suffering. And they're sitting back praising America, saying, come save us. And America's the one who started it. America's the one that's got them in the streets, broke, busted, and disgusted. And they're so caught up thinking that it's because of their leadership. Now, is it corruption going on? Yeah, probably so. But name a nation that doesn't have some corruption going on, especially here. But that's just what it is. You got heathens ruling, man. It's going to be like that. But it goes on. Where's the scripture at? The righteous in authority. Yeah, there we go. Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. This is only indicative that wicked people are ruling over the people. This is why there has to be an outcry, and there has to be a sincere movement by the children of the Lord, the righteous people of the Lord, the Israelites, the true people of God, Blacks and Native Americans and Hispanics, to repent, to return back to our righteous fold of being a righteous people, morally, civilly, dietarily, ceremonially, so that we can rule over the world in righteousness. Because what's that going to turn into? People are going to rejoice. You know, it sounds so crucial, man, that people are sitting back saying, oh, man, that ain't fair. You're going to have servants and handmaids. Well, that's what the Bible called for. But you know what? Them same nations, the heathens, the Gentiles, the other nations, they're going to rejoice. They're going to be happy to serve us, because guess what? Righteousness is going to be sown on the earth, man. Righteous authority, righteous balance, righteous judgment is going to be instilled back in the earth through the power of the Most High, IQAhmath. Right? This is why they're over there protesting and wilding out in Minnesota and everywhere else. The people over there are getting starved out by America, and they're going to the same people to relieve them and liberate them. Unbelievable. Let's continue. Look, there are rivers of blood. The true horror of Iran's protest massacres. Doctors tell of overflowing morgues and mass gunshot wounds as the regime crackdown intensifies. So you see over there, man, the Iranians, they're not playing. They Iran gets inspired by looking at BLM and Antifa protests in America. That's sipping of the wine of the wrath of the fornication over here. You know, there's Second Amendment rights over here. There's First Amendment rights over here. The right to assemble and peacefully protest and all the other stuff. You can do that over here. Go try that over there and you see what happens, man. They out here shutting down the internet, popping people live, hanging people, doing it all. You can't do that over there. But see, that's them wanting to be like Babylon. That's them sipping the wine and the wrath of the fornication. They sitting back getting drunk on this poison titty milk from this wicked harlot, right? And see what happens to them. The corpses and the injured arrive in never-ending streams. Some come by ambulance, others are piled high in the back of pickup trucks, stacked in bloodied heaps. Still more are brought in private cars, driven to panic relatives who blare their horns as they roar into hospital forecourts, frantically pleading for help. I mean, it's complete anarchy and hell going on over there. And it's really all over economics, poverty. But who laid it down on them? You know who. As he says, help is on the way, and they're still piling bodies in the damn morgues and trucks and dumping them off at overcrowded hospitals. Well, where's the help at? That not a Jew said, hey, but call off the strikes. We're not helping. Now, is that a smokescreen? Will something happen in the next week when they get some more reinforcements over there? We're going to see. We'll wait to see. But as of right now, doesn't look like it. Look at this. Iran warns neighbors it could hit U.S. bases if Washington strikes. I said this a few weeks ago after the kidnapping of Maduro, the overthrow of Venezuela, that Cuba was heavily relying upon the oil that was coming from Venezuela for power, for energy, gas, for economics. And once that got cut off, Cuba now is almost a wasteland. You know, Agent Orange said it himself. They said Cuba's in a lot of trouble. They're in a lot of trouble. It's almost over. History will tell as U.S. pressure grows, Cuba edges closer to collapse amid a mass exodus. Disillusioned with the revolution after 68 years of U.S. sanctions, who's a U.S. sanctions? 68 years of being sanctioned and cut off from America and from this mother harlot, from this great whore, right? You got kicked out the brothel. You can't parade around on the streets of the earth no more to prostitute yourself to get some more money. The madam done shut you down. And any little trick that comes up there and tries to deal with you, they're going to be, you know, the madam of the West is going to be on them. So they get scared, they run off, they don't deal with them. The ones that do, they have to deal with the fallout. Okay. Now it says, disillusioned with the revolution after 68 years of U.S. sanctions and a shattered economy, 1 in 4 Cubans have left in 4 years. Can a regime and country survive the engulfing poly crisis? Look at down here. This is part of the article. It says all young people want to leave. There's almost no food and it's hard to get anything. Almost no food is hard to get anything. Everybody, all the young people are trying to get out of there. Where they want to come to? They want to come to America. The unrest further undermines Cuba at a time when the Trump administration is stepping up its offensive across Latin America, heavily reinforcing U.S. military deployment in the Caribbean, raiding Caracas to capture the Venezuelan president, and stepping up threats against the governments in Panama, Colombia, and Cuba. So we see him completely destabilizing these Caribbean countries, Venezuela, Cuba, and we know that he's on the rampage trying to get the rest from Colombia down to Mexico. And he doesn't care that whole countries and young people are starving over there as he's parading around trying to get Nobel Peace Prizes. Make that make sense. He's campaigning for a Nobel Peace Prize, meanwhile starving out nations, bombing nations, kidnapping sovereign leaders. Now look at this. Exclusive. U.S. gets its first $500 million Venezuelan oil deal, holding some proceeds in Qatar. It took them a week and a half, 2 weeks max. Struck a $500 million deal and then took the money and put it in an offshore account. Personal account, $500 million. Remember they said, it ain't about the oil. We don't need the oil. Huh? I can't tell. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said at the Economic Club of Minnesota last week that his department will, quote, will oversee the accounts. That's so great. We can count on good old Scott Bessent to take good care of the money. And then at the president's direction and Secretary Rubio's direction, be in charge of the disbursement that goes back into Venezuela. So they're saying, oh, well, we scored a $500 million oil deal. We're going to stash it in our own private account over here. And we'll monitor it. And then when we get word, we'll funnel it back over there to Venezuela. Y'all believe that? What's the Bible say? Proverbs 26:25. When he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Sirach 12:10 says, never trust thy enemy. Because as iron rusteth, so does his wickedness. It just gets worse and worse. But don't worry. They're going to do right by the Venezuelan people. $500 million is going right back over there. Man. As soon as they get it figured out, it's fine. But look at this. Treasury's role will be making sure the funds get to the proper place. Besant added, we're the bankers here. We don't direct the funds. So he's saying all we do is we're going to store the money. We'll hold on to the funds. Asked to provide further clarity on the accounts, the Treasury spokesperson told Semaphore that the United States Treasury is fully committed to supporting President Trump's efforts on behalf of the people of Venezuela. So far, we haven't seen him in any type of support of the people of Venezuela. He said they're going to run the country over there, right? He hasn't supported and put up any new leadership. The people are over there. I showed y'all the video of them protesting, saying they want Maduro back and free him last week. And he's acting like he's doing the right thing by them, right? Okay. Now it says this account is going to be a headache. Now, this is what some bankers and Democrats are saying. This account is going to be a headache for whatever bank that takes it on. So they're not putting it in a U.S. bank. Further in this article, they said they're using some bank, some European bank. So an offshore account sounds like, some money laundering. They're hiding the money. You're going to have a bank that's going to have to deal with taking on this whole account and doing the forensics and going through, making sure that everything's legitimate. Nobody's messing with it. They're going to be getting questions. They're going to be getting letters from Congress. And if Democrats take control of the House, there will probably be subpoenas. So this is why you got the primaries coming up in November. There's rumors of Trump saying, hey, if I declare martial law, we won't have a primary. Because the way his approval rating is going and it's constantly spiraling down, the fear is that the Democrats are going to get control of the House and they're going to start making all the changes that he don't want. So while he's putting an iron fist grip on everything that's going on in the earth right now, it kind of makes sense if he would try to, lay down a law and put out an executive order to avoid the Republicans losing the House and having the power to, enforce policy. So now they got $500 million they hiding. And they said, well, when we get the word from Rubio and Trump, man, we'll send it back over there to Venezuela. But until then, we're gonna be the bank. So they done stole and embezzled some money, man. The Venezuelan people ain't profiteering off of that, and they over there starving right now. Inflation is down there 1,000%, and they immediately got some money out the deal and are withholding it. Let's move on. Look at this.
Poland has warned a NATO alliance collapse over Trump's Greenland threats would be the end of the world as we know it. It comes after crunch talks between America, Denmark. Poland has warned a NATO.
Did y'all hear that? NATO giant warns it's the end of the world if alliance crumbles over Trump's Greenland threat as Trump's land on island. Remember I said it's kind of ironic too that you've got the movie Greenland Part 2 set to premiere sometime soon. At the same time, here's all this movement going towards Trump seizing Greenland. Similar to what they did maybe, a year ago when they had or maybe 2 years ago, the Civil War movie, and it was all going down over the election and slow Biden and him was going at it. And it's going to be a civil war, and here comes the movie. I'm not saying there's nothing fake, but Hollywood plays a role in the politics and the psychological mind frame that the people are in. You understand? They work hand in hand. CIA is involved in Hollywood. So part of this is a psyop. The movie, politics, the war, everything, right? You just got to follow along. But listen to this.
Alliance collapse over Trump's Greenland threats would be the end of the world as we know it. It comes after crunch talks between America, Denmark, and Greenland in Washington on Wednesday, which failed to resolve the fundamental disagreement over the mineral-rich island. As tensions build, Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk has issued a chilling warning.
Dzisiaj to jest może nie miejsce i nie czas na dokładną analizę geopolitycznych i i militarnych konsekwencji ewentualnej interwencji zbrojnej Stanów Zjednoczonych w Grenlandii. To byłaby w sensie politycznym tak czy inaczej i z naszego punktu widzenia katastrofa. Czy konflikt, czy próba zaboru terytorium państwa, które jest członkiem NATO, przez drugie państwo.
Now, notice he said a conflict or an attempt to take over the territory of a country that is a NATO member, speaking of Greenland or Denmark, by another NATO member state, America,
które jest członkiem NATO, i to są w dodatku Stany Zjednoczone, no to byłby koniec świata takiego świata, jaki znamy.
Parliament has warned a NATO alliance collapse over chilling warning.
Dzisiaj to jest politycznych i militarnych konsekwencji ewentualnej interwencji zbrojnej Stanów Zjednoczonych w Grenlandii. To byłaby w sensie politycznym tak czy inaczej i z naszego punktu widzenia katastrofa. Czy konflikt, czy próba zaboru terytorium państwa, które jest członkiem NATO, przez drugie państwo, które jest członkiem NATO, i to są w dodatku Stany Zjednoczone, no to byłby koniec świata takiego.
I'm gonna stop right there. You see that what he said? If this goes down, he said, what's more, it's the United States. Well, that would be the end of the world as we know it. Can we stop saying, hey man, you old Bible thumping the Hebrews, y'all don't know what you're talking about. The world ain't gonna have it. Listen to what the so-called white man is saying. Listen to what NATO is saying. Listen to what the European Union is saying. Listen to what America is saying. Don't listen to us. You don't want to listen to the Bible. You don't want to hear what the world got, what the word has to say. Let them tell it then. That's plain. He just said, if this goes down, it's over with.
Takiego świata, jaki znamy i który nam przez dziesięciolecia gwarantował bezpieczeństwo.
Trump has repeatedly argued the US must. Parliament has...
Now, let's look at this real quick. Now, he says if that goes down, end of the world as we know it. That's Isaiah 13:1. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Now, this ain't talking about ancient Babylon. It's talking about the future Babylon that happens, because the warfare that is going to incur from the judgment of Babylon did not happen in ancient Babylon. We've talked about this a number of different times. Historically, you can look it up. See if Babylon got overthrown by fire and destruction and war and all of that. You'll find that they did not. Persians and the Medes took them with little resistance. So this can't be talking about ancient. So continuing on, it says, lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the noble. So at the same time that Babylon is being judged and the burden is being taught, Isaiah the prophet is going out shaking the hand, prophesying, rebuking and teaching and getting the people in order. That's what the men of the Lord are doing currently right now in the same fashion. Verse 3, I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. So there's a great assembling of nations. Noise is coming. What's the noise? The noise is going to be coming via war. Now it says the Yahweh, the power of hosts, musters the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahweh, and the weapons of indignation to destroy the whole land. So the objective is that they're going to be sent by the Most High, just like we seen earlier in Ezekiel 38, that the Most High is going to put hooks in the jaws of God in the land of Magog and control them and bring them into a military conflict, and they will have allies. We're seeing here in Isaiah 13 the same thing that Ezekiel was understanding, that there's going to be a global conflict that's going to be directed by the indignation of the Most High to destroy the land. What land? It's talking about America. Modern day Babylon. Isaiah 14, and we're going to read down, let's see. Let's read All right, let's start at verse 13. We'll read down. It says, "For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mountain of the congregation in the sides of the north." So this is the mentality of the ruling class of the so-called white man. He has a God complex. He wants to ascend his throne above the stars of the Most High. This is why he's got the Space Wars program, satellites, Starlink, everything else. He's trying to assemble so-called rockets and ships to extend his kingdom outside of the third heaven, which he can't do, has not done. He's lying about all that. But his idea is that he wants to be like, that's why I said that. In his heart, this is what he's saying. And he's trying to manifest certain things, at the same time, we know the Most High as being the creator. He says, well, I can create too. I can make you design a baby. I can, create fake embryos, fake food. I can create mutated, mutant animals, and I can create poop out of water, and make water out of poop. And he believes he is a creator. He believes he is the Most High, and now he wants to, travel into the realms of transhumanism, looking for life extension technology, to thinking he can live forever. Man and machine, mixing and blending the two, This is all him with the God complex. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Brought down to hell means he's going to be brought down to the grave. He's going to be destroyed for the boastfulness and for the pride and for the evil that he's committing within the earth. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake the kingdoms? Who's making all these kingdoms tremble? Who's got the earth on lock right now? Who's causing the conflicts? Who's got everybody looking to the west, saying all problems lie right there? This guy that's in the office right now is acting a damn fool. It's Trump right now. It could be somebody else in the next 3 years. The focus is here in Babylon. This is the central hub of the beast system, right? Not saying that because they're going to see the judgment of this place, they're going to say, is this the place that everybody was fearing? All the nations were drinking the wine of the wrath of the fornication. Everybody was scared to go and invade. That's why nobody's ever invaded this place. This place ain't never been touched by bombs. Ain't nobody trying to touch this place until the Most High releases judgment and them missiles get to flying over here. The Bible calls them arrows. Now, continuing on, it says, verse 17, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. So, they've gone through and colonized different landscapes, took over everything, bleeding countries, dry resources and minerals or whatnot, making the world a wilderness, man, impoverishing everybody, putting them under sanctions and tariffs and you name it. So this is everything that's going on within this place, right? But let me get a couple more real quick, and we're going to continue on. Jeremiah 50, and we're going to read one down to we're going to read down. We're going to jump around a little bit. It's a long chapter, but it says, the word of Yahweh spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. So again, keep in mind, this ain't talking about ancient Babylon. We'll see why in a minute. Declare ye among the nations, and publish and set up a standard, publishing a seal not. So this is not going to be a hidden thing. It's going to be well known. You see it on local, global news. Everybody's eyes is focused in on the conflicts that's involving America, Greenland, the EU, NATO, Russia, China, Venezuela, Iran, you name it. It's not going to be concealed no more. It's not going to be no guesswork. What's going on right now? If you got an ounce of the fear of the Most High and you looking for things, you're gonna say, "Man, something ain't right. The world's upside down, man. Place is wicked. I don't know what's going on, but I don't feel right. This ain't like back in the day." Like that is your spirit speaking, saying, "Yeah, something's going on." You may not know what it is, but if you're looking for it, you might find an answer. Babylon is taken. Bel is confounded. Merodach is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded. Her images are broken in pieces. So all of the technology, all of the wizardry, the sorcery, the idols, everything that America's established itself on, nothing is going to work. For out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. Now look at this. It says, out of the north there's going to come a nation against her. It's going to make what land desolate? Babylon. None shall dwell therein. This place is going to be uninhabitable. It's going to be a smoking heap. Now, interesting enough, it said, well, who's the north? Who is that? Well, we're going to see. Now, it says, in those days and in that time, saith Yahweh, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together. Now, we know Babylon, only the children of Judah was in captivity. The children of Israel, the northern kingdom, they was already gone. After this here in captivity, they came over here. So this can't be talking about ancient Babylon, because this particular Babylon, both northern and southern kingdoms are here together. And it says, what's going to happen? They're going to be going and weeping. They shall go and seek Yahweh their power. So during this time, there's going to be an awakening, which we're all seeing right now. Northern and southern kingdom are waking up, seeking after the Most High, as this judgment is befalling this place known as Babylon, right? Dropping down, verse 9, it says, for lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrow shall be as a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. These arrows is talking about the missiles, ICBM missiles. They're going to come and hit with precision. This is why Agent Orange is saying we got to get the Golden Dome up immediately. $500 billion. We need to get this up, because he knows an imminent attack is coming this way. He's trying to prepare. But it said an assembly of great nations from the north country. Now look at this. I put in the search. What countries are in Northern Europe? Northern Europe includes who's the first nation they acknowledge? Denmark. Who is this whole fight over with in Greenland? Oh, okay. Estonia, Finland, Iceland, Ireland, Latvia, Lithuania, Norway, Sweden, and who? The UK. If you notice, most of these are, if not all, are NATO countries. You follow? All praise to the Most High, because when he says he's going to assemble a great company, a great nations that are going to come together from the north country, what are they talking about? And including within this framework of these great nations from the north country, Russia also has been standing on the sidelines saying, oh, we don't like what America's doing to you guys over there in Greenland. We might not be part of NATO, but we're in full support of what's going on. If you need us, holler. Do you see now? This is why, this ain't written by no man. That assembly of great nations is NATO. Also coming from the north country, you've got the BRICS nations and you got Russia. This is the whole assembly that's going to turn themselves in opposition of Babylon. Dropping down to verse 41. Let's get right here. It says, behold, a people shall come from the north, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. This is why also when it says many kings, because even in Revelation 16 and verse 12, it says, and the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. So remember, it said great kings is going to come together as well. So who's over there in the east? We talked about it before. Russia's on the east, China's on the east, North Korea's on the east. Japan. You follow? all enemies of America. Pakistan, and what we've all seen, everybody knows, the Great River Euphrates has been dried up. All of this is unfolding in real time. You're witnessing it, I'm witnessing it. Now the Lord said in verse 41, behold, a people shall come from the north, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. They shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, every one put in array like a man to the battle against thee. O daughter, not ancient Babylon, the offspring, daughter of Babylon. Okay? Verse 46, at the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations. How do we know this is also part of the prophecy? And that says the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved. This place is going to get shut down. The earth is going to be moved, right? Revelation 18. And look at this, verse 19. Actually, 17 down. For in 1 hour, so great riches is come to naught. Every shipmaster and all the company of ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off. What did you say over here? At the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations. Back to Revelation 18. And every shipmaster and all the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? Back over here, the earth is moved, heard among the nations, crying. Why? Because the cash cow was gone, man. The madam is dead. This mother harlot has been destroyed. They no longer have a place that they can leech off of, they can utilize, that they can be called free. When they want to come over, when they want to escape from the Sharia law and the oppressive ways of Islam or whatever the case may be, they want to come over here. They want to be liberated. They come to America. Back in the day, they say, I want my MTV. They go turn on MTV, smoking cigarettes, being sodomites out in the streets. Man, women can be harlots. They do what they want to do. Take off the burqas. They out here living. No, can't do that no more, man. Over there in China, you got the one China policy and everything else. They come over here, man. They done got the little Chinese women get white men, get knocked up, having multiple kids, doing whatever. They living. Coming over here to establish their businesses, setting up shop. North Korea, South Korea, they come over here fresh off the fish boat, man. Taking over damn Louisiana fried chickens and swap meats and liquor stores, and all that's going to get shut down. They're going to be whining and crying, man. Habib ain't going to have the damn 7-Elevens no more and the gas stations. All that is out. That's why they're going to be crying. And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city wherein were made rich. All that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness, for in 1 hour is she made desolate. Even Europe, man, all them imports from the foreign cars and everything else, that's over with. Yeah, exactly. Hair, nail salons, man. Sisters gonna be out here stressing. Nah, you ain't gonna be worrying about no damn weaves at that point, man. If you ain't on them ships and up out of here, you done already burnt. So you ain't got to worry about your nails and your hair at that time, honey. Everything's gonna be up to smoke. All right. So let me get one more over here in Jeremiah 51. And then we're gonna get back over to these articles. So remember, said all these countries in the north, man. These are the ones that's gonna be all part of this NATO alliance. Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh's hands, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Yeah, once they realize, man, that it's poison. They'll be mad because they're going to get cut off and they're going to be left out there drunk in the stupor of ignorance and fornication, unrighteousness, wickedness, lies, deception, gluttony and everything else. And they're going to lose it all. Okay. One more, and like I said, we're going to cover this tomorrow, and we talked about this before, but Revelation 17:16, it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, the 10 horns is the EU, the European Union, or the European Economic Community. You know, that's the so-called white man. He likes to flip names. He likes to interchange things. But the 10 horns is the original, based upon the original 10 nations of the European Union after World War II. That was on the beast. These shall hate the whore. The whore is America. They're going to turn on America. Why would these particular nations who are backed by NATO all of a sudden going to hate the whore? Well, we're seeing it right now. You see the whore saying, I'm taking Greenland whether they like it or not. I'm not talking money. And they're saying, wait, hold on. We're on the same team here. Why are you trying to hijack us? Why are you robbing us? Why are you threatening war with us? We got a problem. And we got many other nations that's within this coalition that ain't feeling you. And what's Agent Orange say? We can do it the easy way or the hard way. Right? And so they're going to hate the whore and shall make her desolate and naked and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So, you just seen one of the NATO leaders say, man, if America moves forward with this plan, it's going to be the end of the world as we know it. So that should let you know the triggering of World War III may center around Greenland. According to these prophecies we see, very well could be the case. Trump says anything less than the U.S. control of Greenland is, quote, unacceptable ahead of crunch talk. So he's not backing down. Now you see why they hate the whore? Look, Trump threatens, I'll quit NATO. Uh-oh. Quitting NATO over Greenland as he doubles down on a blistering tariff threat and Europe puts boots on the ground. Yeah, so Europe got boots on the ground over there. They're already scrambling, getting prepared for dog fights in the air with military planes. They sending planes over there right now. He says, will you pull out of NATO if it doesn't help you? You know, a reporter asked him this. Will you pull out of NATO if it doesn't help you acquire Greenland? The reporter asked the president outside the White House on Friday. Trump warned, we're going to see. NATO has been dealing with us on Greenland. We need Greenland for national security very badly. If we don't have it, we have a very big hole in terms of national security, especially in the terms of the Golden Dome. Hello? Remember that? Yeah, he wants to set up his own Golden Dome missile defense system. And he wants to be stationed and need Greenland to be a part of that. The Golden Dome is a proposed multi-layered missile defense system, which the president says is relying on seizing control of Denmark's Arctic territory. Now, let me make sure. Am I tripping? Or did it say? Oh, Denmark, Northern Europe, North Country, and an assembling of nations. Oh, okay. And who else said they're getting their back? Russia's spoken out against it. All right, it's all making sense now, right? Trump earlier threatened to impose tariffs. Oh, they're going to hate the whore because why? I'm going to throw tariffs on you. I'm going to break your economy. I'm going to hit your pockets. And if you don't like it, we can get busy out here in these streets in Greenland in the snow. Look at it. Trump earlier threatened to impose tariffs on countries that don't go along with Greenland as he escalated his pressure campaign. Britain, Finland, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Norway, and Sweden announced yesterday that the deployment of small numbers of troops to Greenland in response to Trump's bellicose rhetoric. All making sense now? Okay. Greenland invasion plot. Donald Trump orders army chiefs to draw a plan to invade Greenland. The U.S. president emboldened by success of Maduro capture operation. Yeah, he's riding high. He's 1 for 1. You know, taking out Maduro. She said, "Well, I'm gonna go get Greenland next. I'm gonna go double back over there and into Colombia and all that." See, so he's got an invasion plan. Look at it. What would NATO be left with without the U.S. military? As Trump warns, they need us more than we need them. Alliance's huge reliance on America is revealed. So he's drawing a line in the sand, right? He's saying, look, I don't need y'all. We got the money. We've got the strongest military. We're the biggest bully on the block. And it's a pleasure for y'all to even be, for me to even be associated with y'all. And I can do something historic and back down and leave. And we'll see how much you guys can stand if Russia decides to push the issue and we back down and don't help you. You're SOL, as they say. You know the acronym, put it together. Right? That's right, Koav. That's why the Most High said, the pride of thy heart have deceived thee. Because that's exactly what he's saying. I stand as the Most High alone. You know, we've seen that in 2 Thessalonians, where he said that he's going to sit in the throne as the Most High. You know, there you go. Denmark sends military reinforcements to Greenland, so it's lit over there. This is another reason why they said, well, hold off on that Iran thing. Trump's saying, oh, I'm trying to get this solidified over here. They didn't, take heed to my barking. So let me see if I can get this situated over here. I'll double back over there in Iran. Not a Jew said, yeah, hold off, because if you get caught up over there in Greenland, we ain't ready to mess with Iran. We're going to need y'all over here. Meanwhile, Russia's over here scheming and plotting, rubbing their hands together like Birdman, licking their lips, saying, yeah, now you caught up. Perfect time to catch America slipping. UK, Germany talk NATO forces in Greenland to calm the U.S. threat. So we're seeing all these particular nations coming in. And then he's got the immigration issue jumping off. So he's even shutting the door. This guy is slick, man. He's all over the place. This is why I said total chaos. He's got hell going on over here in Greenland, hell going on in Iran, hell going on in Venezuela, hell going on in Russia and Ukraine. Right here in the homeland, as they call it. He done slammed the door on visas for 75 countries, including Russia, Iran, and Somalia. So immigrant visas now are getting put on pause and shut down as of January 21st. If you're over here on the immigrant visa, you trying to get it renewed, that ain't happening. You about to get booted up out of here. Anybody coming over here seeking an immigrant visa to stay over here and working on, you not coming in. So he is shutting the door. You're exactly right, Koha. This is why we know that America is the offspring of Rome, part of that fourth beast, because Rome was the same way, overextended themselves. The expansion of the kingdom was too great for it to maintain and commit to. Internal strife and warfare. We see what's going on between the MAGA hats. They're biting at each other's butt cheeks, going at it with each other. The Democrats is on their heads too, right? The military, during the times of Rome, man, the military wasn't getting their money. Inflation was hidden. They ended up going out becoming mercenaries. Everything was going down. America's about to hit the same speed bump. They had the barbarians coming in, the Visigoths, the Goths, the Visigoths, the Vandals, all of them sliding up in Rome, taking over province by province, slowly but surely. That's why America's like, man, these damn immigrants, they coming over here taking over our cities. We got to get rid of them. Very interesting how history does repeat itself. And the Most High said there's nothing new under the sun. We just see different names, same faces, different names, different regimes. Chameleons, snakeskin. Shed, here comes another one. Shed, here comes another one. But they doing the same thing. So look at this. Donald Trump has frozen visa processing for 75 countries, including Russia and Iran, as the president threatens military strikes against the Ayatollah. Consular officers were directed to deny visas in an internal memo sent by the State Department as the government re-examines screening and vetting procedures. Some of the countries targeted include Afghanistan, Brazil, Iraq, and Somalia. The latter country is the administration cites amid reports of widespread fraud by the Somali community in Minnesota. It is unclear whether the decision is directly linked to ongoing military preparations for Iran, but it comes as Trump has threatened strikes on the Islamic regime amid a bloody crackdown that has left at least 2,500 protesters dead. So, with them shutting out Iran, very possible, because what did they do during Hiroshima and Nagasaki, man? They went and created concentration camps and locked in all the Japanese and put them in internment camps and said, man, we don't know if you're friend or foe, man, but we're going to throw you in these camps, man, until we figure out what's going on with this war. So isolate and identify. Now he's saying, well, we ain't letting no more in. They can come as tourists. You can come in, and once that your little visa time is up, get the hell on out of here. We find out you sticking around here. We got ICE on deck, SWAT team on deck, and they've been given full immunity to do whatever they want. So he's declaring and drawing a line. All his enemies, anybody he ain't liking, he's already showing you. Clashes in Minneapolis after federal agents shoots a man. Another man got shot. Venezuelan man got shot in the leg. After the Edomite woman got smoked, 2 weeks ago. So ICE ain't slowing down on popping people, right? Look at it. Native Americans are getting swept up by ICE in Minneapolis. Tribe is saying this is how out of control it is. How can you be a quote unquote Native American and they saying you illegal? I mean, this is out of control, man. For hours, Raylene Duffy searched for information that could lead to the whereabouts of her son, Jose Roberto or Beto Ramirez, who that morning had been forcibly removed from his aunt's car and detained by mass federal immigration officers in Robbinsdale, Minnesota. Ramirez, 20, is Native American and a U.S. citizen, but video of his arrest last Thursday shows that the officers were unmoved by his aunt's panic screams informing them of his legal status. They yanked Ramirez from the passenger seat, slammed him on the hood of another car, handcuffed him, and took him away. Ramirez, a descendant of the Red Lake Nation, a federally recognized Ojibwe tribe in northern Minnesota, was held in custody for about 10 hours. His mother said in an interview he is among several Native Americans, several who have allegedly been swept up in the Trump administration surge in immigration. They did, I covered the story, man. They did that to a sister that, what's she have, a Warren or something out in Iowa. She was from a Native American tribe in Arizona. And she was out in Iowa, man. Her mom had to go out there and they locked her up and detained her. Said she was illegal. They just had to apologize to, if y'all remember, I talked about the sister that left college to go home in Texas for Thanksgiving, and they swooped her up and sent her down to, I think, Guatemala somewhere. And she was like, I'm a citizen, like I'm a student. And they just had to apologize to her and brought her back. They ain't giving a damn. There's a video that I seen. I didn't clip it, but I stopped this dude, man, and said, man, show me your papers. He said, for what? I'm a citizen. He said, man, because you got an accent. And the dude was like, man, you got an accent. Man, they must have hemmed that dude up. If you got an accent, it's over with. ICE agents arrest workers from a Mexican restaurant where they just ate. Can you imagine? The gall of these people, man, they go in there and eat burritos, whatever else they was eating, man, and they say, okay, let me get in the back there and get the cook. Let me get the waiter and the waitress, man. I mean, these cats is out of damn control. They in there eating. Hold on. I never want to go there. Eating and then go back there. Then go back there, man, and go detain somebody and threaten to throw them in the damn detention center. Now you see here, they talking about the Insurrection Act. That's in other words, martial law. Everybody been hearing about him threatening to throw this out there. Sometimes he be bluffing, sometimes he fall through. Trump threatens to use the Insurrection Act to, quote, put an end to protests in Minneapolis. So he's got his hands full all over the place, man. Look at him talking about if the corrupt politicians in Minnesota don't obey the law and stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking the patriots of ICE, who are only trying to do their job, running over, women in their cars, dragging them out, choking out men, slamming them on the ground, racially profiling. Come on. I'll institute the Insurrection Act, which many presidents have done before me, and quickly put an end to the travesty that is taking place in that once great state, Trump said in the social media post. So he's threatening martial law, essentially, to quell the protests over there in Minnesota. But he loves the protests going on over there in Iran, where 2,500 people have already been put to death. That's all good. When they're over here, martial law on deck, right? Look, ICE agent who shot dead Renee Good is now a millionaire through online fundraisers. So now they're even being incentivized, man. There's rewards for going above and beyond the call of duty. This dude, man, then came up. First of all, the white woman, Renee Good, the GoFundMe for her is at like 1.5 million. So that's supposed to help her and her sodomite wife and the kids. The cop or the ICE agent, he's at like 850,000 on GoFundMe, and then there's another account that got 200 something thousand. So he's been rewarded. Job well done. Can you imagine? Remember this? Woman who raised 800K online charge for calling the kid the N-word. That was in Minnesota as well. Y'all seen the video of that white woman over there calling the little Somalian kid a nigger and all that? And the dad was there filming it. He was like, man, you're a racist. She was like, yeah, so what? You're a nigger too. Blah, 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 blah. Then when she get trolled online, and I think she lost her job, good old white folks came to the rescue, man. Got her 800K for standing on white supremacy. Now we can't claim racism with the Renee Good shooting. That was white on white crime. But it's the actions that are allowing ICE to go and still pillage and plummet the Hispanics and the so-called blacks from Haiti, Sierra Leone, West Africa, wherever, that's getting tracked down and ramsacked. That's giving them more incentive to continue doing what they're doing. Now that they know some money can come, money's coming from the deal, you're gonna really see him acting a damn fool now. Immediately he was exonerated. They talking about he got an internal bleeding now. Whatever. Heads up, FDA raises a recall of cheese sold to Sam's Club, ShopRite, to the highest risk after deadly bacteria found the probability of death. Listeria was found in Pecorino Romano cheese sold under the popular brands like Locatelli and Boar's Head, and also the Sam's Club brand. I think is Maker's Mark. Oh, not Maker's Mark. That's the whiskey. But Maker's is the brand name. If you have Pecorino Romano, I know most of us are like, what? I don't eat that crap. That's some Italians be eating it. But in the event that you do have some, there has been a deadly recall, man. The highest level for this particular cheese, whether it's Boar's Head, Locatelli, or the Maker's brand out of Sam's Club. Check your refrigerator if you got those. Giving y'all a heads up on that. All right. 15,000 nurses are going on strike, major New York City hospitals. So we see even the healthcare system is collapsing. This is why they ushering in AI to, pre-approve your authorizations to do your telemed scans, doing robots doing the surgeries. At the same time, when they got this, new flu strain going out, hospitals being overwhelmed, and the nurses are saying, well, we're out of here. Workers are demanding more robust staffing levels and higher pay. The strike comes 3 years after a smaller job action won significant gains. The union representative nurses says a strike is necessary to force hospitals to ensure minimum staffing ratios so that nurses aren't overwhelmed with too many patients. They are also demanding higher wages, more scrutiny at hospitals to reduce violent episodes and shootings. So we see that New York City hospitals now are in crisis. I mean, this place is over with, man. Look, bank seized 367,000 homes as a housing pain spreads across the U.S. and it's about to get much worse. Yet foreclosures at all-time highs, and guess what? The banks are coming back, snatching up all them homes for pennies on the dollar, and then they're going to go resell them or create affordable homes or so-called affordable homes and housing complexes, 15-minute cities, smart cities, you name it. It's all going to go down when they start doing these redevelopments. Just like they're trying to do in Altadena out here. You've got these powerful hedge fund groups buying up whole communities in Atlanta and other places down south to make it unaffordable. You know, you hear about the housing market crash that happened in 2008. This is that and some coming back to haunt everybody that was seeking the American dream. 367,000 people have lost their homes, man, in just this past year. Experts warn 2026 could be even more challenging. Didn't I say that? Last year, I said 2026 is going to be a hard time for a lot of people. Foreclosures when a bank or lender takes back a home after missed mortgage payments rose 14% from a year earlier. I seen some, I don't know the channel's name, but some cats on YouTube that was playing TikTok videos of people who were complaining about their mortgage rates jumping up by like the thousands. And it's because the land taxes going up. They was thinking, well, why is my mortgage going up? I got a fixed rate and all that. But they didn't account for the taxes on the land going up. So anytime Esau can pop up and be like, hey, man, we raising taxes on that land that you renting from us. We're adding on another $700 onto your mortgage. And you already living check to check trying to stretch a buck just to, make sure that mortgage gets paid. Now they say, well, another $700, man. Until people can't break and can't pay it. So they either got to sell the house, foreclose, or whatever. And the bank sit back rubbing their hands saying, all that money we got from them for the last 10 years right into our pockets, and we still get the house. They're out on the streets eating off of hot plates and camper vans and everything else. And then they go back and sell it to the next sucker. Or, like I said, tear it down and make a whole new development of tiny homes. You talk about fraud, scam, schemes, and all kind of stuff, man. It all goes down here. Experts warn even more homes may be seized in 2026 if the job market weakens, and it may very well. Then we would, unfortunately, down the road see the increase in the foreclosure rate significantly accelerate, said economist Michael Sanzanto. Indeed, the outlook for the housing market and the wider economy is increasingly bleak. In total, U.S. added only 584,000 jobs in 2025, making it the weakest year for job growth outside of the recession since 2003. Weakest job growth in 22 years under Agent Orange. And he's, of course, he's going to say, it's the Democrats. It's Biden. It's their fault. No, MF, are you the one that got your economic plans with the tariffs, with the destruction of Medicaid and EBT, everything else? That's one of the things he was saying about the visas, for the immigrant visas, because he was like, well, they're going to come over here and they're going to use all the federal safety nets and try to get on government assistance, and they're going to take that from hardworking Americans. But he don't give a damn about that. He's not trying to spend no extra money if he ain't got to. Tight budget. And who even knows if this 584,000 jobs is real? Because watch next year, just like they did with slow Biden, they doubled back and was like, "Oh, we falsified the job numbers for a few quarters. Sorry about that." You know, Agent Orange already had some fumbles with the job numbers. He get fired. The chick that was heading up the job numbers and the economy, talking about she was trying to sabotage his financial planning. That was this past summer. So who even knows if this is real, man? It's probably lower than that. One more thing to show y'all, man. I want to give my 2 cents on this too. Now, one other thing we've seen, and I know some of y'all have heard this. If you haven't, there was an account, and let me start off with this. And I should have played the song too, but 1998 we did a song called "The Illuminati." At the end of the song, one of the brothers was elaborating about the power and the weaponry that the so-called white man has, and he was speaking about microwave towers, what they now are calling 5G, nanotechnology, all the other stuff, right? We were talking about this in 1998, and he says people at the club partying, shaking their butt. He said, you know what? When they put them towers on, your brain's gonna be melting out your ears, and you're gonna be going through hell, basically, right? So later on, you hear of the so-called white man using something called the Havana syndrome, which is like a sonic weapon, and there was cases of it of people in Cuba, agencies in Cuba that came up with, they were saying the Havana syndrome, a couple other places too, right? So my thing is this: I don't deny that the technology and the weaponry that the so-called white man has shown and hasn't shown exists. But this right here, where a anonymous security agent for Maduro gives his chilling account of that raid, I'm calling cap. I'm saying this is a psyop. This is me. This is a psyop. This is a scare tactic to put the other Latin nations in fear and in subjection. This guy, ain't nobody seen him. All you're hearing about is some translated script that came from the CIA or the FBI describing what happened when the U.S. came up. If you ain't seen this, let me read a little bit of this. Right, U.S. used powerful mystery weapon that brought Venezuelan soldiers to their knees during Maduro raid. Witness account. Now, remember that first article that we talked about with Iran, and they said that America is using psychological warfare, cognitive warfare, economic warfare. They pulling out all the stops when it comes to Iran. So even when it comes down to the cognitive and the psychological warfare with the protesters and everything else, they're out there protesting because they broke, not realizing that the people who started it, people got them in there, are the same ones they begging for help. I mean, that's a psychological, that's a psyop. Now, look at this. The U.S. used a powerful mystery weapon that brought Venezuelan soldiers to their knees, bleeding through their nose and vomiting blood during the daring raid to capture dictator Nicolas Maduro, according to witness accounts posted Saturday on X by the White House, right? In a jaw-dropping interview, you see the dramatics, just how they, even word this thing. The Guard described how American forces wiped out hundreds of fighters without losing a single soldier. It's something straight out of a damn movie. Using technology unlike anything he has ever seen or heard. We were on guard, but suddenly all of our radar systems shut down without an explanation. Now that probably did happen. They probably had to shut down the missile defense system, shut down the radar so that they can come on in there. Now, the Guard said the next thing we saw were drones, a lot of drones flying over our positions. We didn't know how to react. Moments later, a handful of helicopters appeared, barely 8 by his account, deploying what he estimated were just 20 U.S. troops into the area. So they dropped down a cold little dub of super soldiers, paratroop down, right? And they win 20 against, hundreds, as he says. All right, let me get back over here. Hold on, because I want to see something. Okay, I want to see something. Moments later, a handful of helicopters. Oh, that was from the Daily Wire. Oh, okay. So drop down 20, but those few men, he said, came armed with something far more powerful than guns. They were technologically very advanced. The guard recalled they didn't look like anything we fought against before. That's probably all true. Maybe he's, what I'm saying is he probably I don't even think that he's saying this. This is the US FBI creating this new script for public consumption. And you see these patriot Edomites out there, yeah, they can't F with us. America first. They're wrapping themselves in the American flag, so proud. So proud of what, after reading this. Nobody can F with us. We're the baddest, man. Now it says what ensued, he said, was not a battle but a slaughter. We had hundreds, but we had no chance, he said. They were shooting with such precision and speed. It felt like each soldier was firing 300 rounds per minute. Precision speed. I mean, these guys were super soldiers, man. Straight out of a movie. Then came the weapon that still haunts him. At one point, they launched something. I don't know how to describe it, he said. It was like a very intense sound wave. Suddenly, I felt like my head was exploding from the inside. The effects were immediate and horrific. We all started bleeding from the nose, he said. Some were vomiting blood. We fell to the ground, unable to move. We couldn't even stand up after that sonic weapon or whatever it was. Now it says the White House did not immediately respond to the questioning regarding Caroline Leavitt's sharing of the post. Caption, stop what you're doing and read this. That's the psyop right there. She makes a post and says, stop what you're doing and read this. Captivate the minds of the people. You're going to love this story that we're putting out. Indicate the administration was verifying the veracity of the eyewitness account. An estimated 100 Venezuelan security forces were killed in the January 3rd attack. Now, Venezuela is saying 100. There's another account that said, this guy said there was hundreds of them that all got killed. Somebody's lying. Either Venezuela is saying we can't put out how many they really put us to death. Man, put it at the 100. Just call it a day. But sir, they killed 500. No, let's put it 100. We don't want to make it sound like they really got us. Either Venezuela is lying to save face, or they're telling the truth, saying by our body count is 100. Now this guy is saying there was hundreds of them that got put to death by 20 men. It's unclear if any of those deaths were caused by the mystery weapon. The outmatched defenders were helpless as the U.S. small unit wiped them out, the guard said. Those 20 men without a single casualty killed hundreds of us. Venezuela said 100 though. We had no way to compete with their technology, with their weapons. I swear I've never seen anything like it. Now, I don't have, let me see. Maybe I can find it really quick. Let me see. I want to see something. I want to see if they changed that same line right there, right? In the Daily, what is this? The Daily Wire. Let's see okay, here you go. Now, this is supposedly the same account. Now, look, okay. Just pay attention now. Those 20 men without a single casualty killed hundreds of us, he claimed. We had no way to compete with their technology, with their weapons. I swear I've never seen anything like it. Now, those 20 men without a single casualty killed hundreds of us. This is the New York Post. This is what they said, he said. Now, the Daily Wire. Those 20 men killed hundreds of their men. What? Hold on. And none of those American soldiers were injured, a man translating the Venezuelan insider said. Whose men? Their men? Those 20 men killed hundreds of their men? I'm trying to figure this out. Why didn't he say of our men? If he's translating, he would have said those men, 20 men killed hundreds of us, or hundreds of our men, not their men. The New York Post says those 20 men without a single casualty killed hundreds of us. They added in without a single casualty, hundreds are killed, hundreds. I mean, somebody ain't translating right. Somebody then switched up the story. Somebody then fumbled the ball a little bit. Right, but don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger, man. Believe what you want to believe, right? I'm not falling for the psyop. I'm not falling for the games. Does the so-called white man have that technology? Does he have all of that? Absolutely. Did he utilize it in that raid? Maybe he did some and they embellished the rest, because remember, even after the fact, the sentiment was, hold on. Let me double back real quick before we close out. The sentiment was, look, what's the word they want everybody to know? After the raid, said the Maduro loyalist, the message couldn't be more clear. Don't tangle with Uncle Sam. Oh, PSYOP, fear tactics. Let everybody else know. Spread the word. Let them know what we did to you. We'll leave one alive to scare the rest. Isn't that some colonialism for you guys? Like the Spaniards, leave one maimed, send them back to the village and tell them, hey, the big bad Spaniards are here, man. Mess with us, you're gonna end up like him and the rest of your people. Sound familiar? You know, I'm sending a warning to anyone who thinks they can fight the United States. As the United States is in multiple conflicts right now, they got to get away with anybody. Denmark, the Netherlands, Germany, UK, NATO. Y'all think you can hang? Russia, you think it? Johnny, y'all leave them alone. Nobody can mess with them. They have no idea what they're capable of. After what I saw, I never want to be on the other side of that again. They not to be messed with. The guard said the raid has already sent shockwaves across Latin America. Oh, you don't say. PSYOP, scary. Okay, especially the president, after President Trump recently warned that Mexico was now on the list. Everyone is already talking about this. He said no one wants to go through what we went through. What happened here is going to change a lot of things, not just Venezuela, but throughout the region. There you have it, right? Don't mess with the big bad wolf, man. And go tell your friends too. Believe the hype if you want to, man. With that being said, all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, man. Another one in the books. The wonderful brothers and sisters, man, y'all support, man. Love all y'all, man, for constantly tuning in, support me, keeping me and my brethren over here at MOTC, man, going and looking to keep feeding the sheep, man. So when it's all said and done, y'all already know, man. Fear the Most High, keep the commandments, don't shoot the messenger. All right. See y'all tomorrow, Most High willing, man. 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. We got a closing Shabbat class, man. You don't want to miss it. All right. Till then, shalom.